so close.
This is very tight. We're going wheel to wheel.
I'm going for it.
Through goes Hamilton.
It's not over yet.
Max Verstappen, champion of the world.
Hello everybody, good day and welcome to Melbourne in the state of Victoria in Australia and to the qualifying notebook for the 2023 Australian Grand Prix. Well, I just wanted to give you, as I always do in these notebook segments, a taste of where we are, of what it's like, of what's going on, and well, it's autumn in Australia. I know, strange, you leave Europe in March and the beginning of April and see spring is in the air, and they've had summer here, it was quite a hot one, and now it's autumn. So, you know, there's a chill in the air. It's about 14, 15 degrees today. There's been a lot of rain about, but we find Australia in fine form, I think. They are delighted to have the Grand Prix here. There are lots of people. It is a bit later in the year, and they're also celebrating the fact they've extended their deal here to 2035. And yeah, it's all a celebration. You've got the nice corporate hospitality area up here. You've got the Red Bull Energy Station. They're calling it the Energy Station. It doesn't look like the Energy Station that we used to have. I think people are enjoying it in here. Is it good in the Energy Station, madam?
It is. Hi, Ted.
Good. Hi.
How you going?
How am I going? Yeah, not bad. Look, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And you know, people seem to be having a good time. No, I think there's everyone having a good time. Is no one's being badly behaved?
No, not yet.
Good. Excellent. And even in Pete's Bar, there's a Pete's Bar over there apparently, which gets a bit lively in the evenings. Yeah, and I haven't seen Pete actually in Pete's Bar, but Pete's back behind the camera. We having a good time, lads?
Yeah, mate, having a great time.
Excellent.
Go
Cool.
Alpha, go Steak.
Yeah, go Steak, right. They do nice steak, actually. That black guy probably works for Steak, but there is a thing, the title sponsor Steak isn't allowed to be on the car, on the Alpha Tower, on the Alfa Romeo Sauber, because it's something to do with what it does. I forget what it does. Hello, everybody. And yeah, so there you go. You got lots of stands out here and the grandstand, and you can just see, you know, what makes it good is that it's, you know, you look at the buildings, just beyond the chap over there. It's 6 kilometres from downtown Melbourne, so that's what makes it sort of really, you know, accessible and good. And every day they get 130,000 people. Is he looking for Andy? Have you found Andy yet?
I have.
You have found
He's
him?
right here.
Good. Okay, great. Fantastic. All right, good. And 130,000 people is the size of Darwin, essentially. So the population of Darwin, capital of the Northern Territories, is the same as the amount of people they get in Albert Park every single day. Hello, everybody. And that's just underlines, you know, more than towns around here like Bendigo and, you know, Wagga Wagga, but yeah, it's a lot of people every day, and then they disappear into the Melbourne evening. Just want to see if everyone's having a good time. How's it been? What's the experience been like, everybody?
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's been a fantastic weekend so far.
Very shy, your friend there. Okay, all right, that's fine. And on the Melbourne Walk as well, where everybody's out having a good time. And I'm interested, do you guys stay here all day, every day, or do you break away? And
I've been here too long.
Here for as long as I take.
you do stay here, or you go and watch qualifying?
Oh no, we were here. We saw
Yeah,
we stayed here.
You watch it on that TV?
That's
Right, and it's worth staying here to get everybody's. Hello, it's worth staying here to get everybody's autographs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hello. Oh, right. Who's that handsome man there with the stubble? And Sergio Perez next to him, who of course has had a shocker. This is nice. It's kind of a nice little tyre there. Everyone having a good time? Someone's got a pillow, George Russell pillow. Is that the strangest thing that you're offering for signature? Really?
We need your help. We need to get George Russell to sign it.
Well, George will come out, and he's got to leave the circuit at some point. So, oh, this is an interesting one. Very good. Haven't seen that one before. Right, so there you go. There's a feeling for it. They all come down the Melbourne Walk. They stop at that kind of stage. That's new for this year. Hello, everyone. And then they can all watch the programs on here. So yeah, you don't need a special ticket to be in this area, right?
General admission, Ted.
So you can just come here with a normal ticket. You don't need anything like that. That's good to know. What bit of a car is that?
It's an RB5 fuel flap.
Nice, cool. Really making for Mark Webber. Yeah, Mark Webber has been seen. He's hasn't been seen too much actually. Mark Webber, even though he's Oscar Piastri's. Which way am I going to go? All right, son. There you go. Thank you, mate. Yeah, instead it's been all Oscar Piastri and Daniel Ricciardo. Daniel Ricciardo has been here, the first race that Danny Rick has been at, and he's cut a bit of a sad figure, I want to say. He's been on the pit wall, on the Red Bull pit wall, and I think he's starting to feel the pain of not being a Formula One driver. The first race he's been to, not a Formula One driver for a long time, and I just get the sense that he's starting to feel it a little bit. And if anyone has seen any VIP talent, can they please let me know, because that is the point at which we need to see it. Hello, you're right. Do we just wave at each other? Oh, she's gone. Oh, right. I saw Danny Rick on the Red Bull pit wall watching the sessions, and he looked to be in pain. He looked to be hating it. And I just thought, you don't want to be there, Danny Rick. You don't want to be watching everybody going around doing what you used to love or still love doing. It's not a good place. Don't do it. Don't be on the pit wall. I think it's much better for Danny Rick just to be in with the engineers, which is where he's been for the other, all the other times, not on the pit wall, studying the lap times, and then just seeing what he does. Oh, there's Miles Chamley-Watson, the Olympic fencer. You right? Yeah, good. Nice.
Yeah, I love it.
We saw you at the Red Bull launch.
Yeah. It was awesome to see them with the car, and it's been a lovely experience. So yeah.
And I understand you've been in Byron Bay the last few days.
Yes. It's the first time. It was lovely. Everybody's been so nice here. I love Australia, and Byron Bay was honestly epic.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay. Nice to see you, Miles. Yeah. Great trousers. Lovely. He was there with Lewis. He's Lewis's mate, isn't he? Charles Miles Chamley-Watson, the fencer. And he was at Byron Bay. Lewis Hamilton spent a few days getting to know Australia before he came here. Right, I've done 7 minutes, and we haven't done anything about the motor racing so far. I've been talking about Darwin and the Northern Territory. So let's start with Red Bull. And Sergio Perez needs a dispensation. There is Danny Rick. The smile's still there, but it's not quite as broad as other people's, maybe. Let's talk about Sergio Perez, because he needs permission to start the Australian Grand Prix tomorrow because he didn't qualify. And it was the end of a shocking day for Sergio. And it looks like, well, there is definitely something wrong with the car, but Red Bull won't tell us what it is, which probably doesn't help Sergio Perez very much. But he doesn't want to tell us either. So, OK, we'll just go with Karun's idea that it's probably something on the overrun and the car sort of pushing itself into a corner and not being able to brake as effectively as it needs to. And that looks like certainly what happened. And maybe there's a brake issue in there as well that we don't know about because they're not telling us. But in any way, it's a DNQ for Sergio Perez. Not only is he not within 107% of the pole time, but he doesn't have a lap at all. So he'll get his steward's dispensation to race, I'm sure. But otherwise, Max Verstappen has been absolutely in control of the whole weekend. P1 in Q1, P1 in Q2, did an immense lap to go on a 16.7. And then Fernando Alonso was second to that point at the time, but then George Russell got within 0.2 of a second. So I think that was a little bit closer than Red Bull would have liked or would have expected. But certainly George Russell, and certainly that's the story of qualifying, we'll get onto it in a second. But Max still had that 0.2 of a second in hand that he needed. Sorry, where are Red Bull? There we go. Oh, that's cozy, isn't it? Damon Hill with Christian Horner. Nice. Right. Yeah, it was, not only did he have the 0.2, but it looked like he was in control for the whole time. Matt, by the way, Red Bull didn't find what the noise was that Max Verstappen could hear in the back of the car in Jeddah. So mystery continues on that point. Is it going to be something that comes up tomorrow? Was there something wrong with the car? They took the car apart, apparently, but they couldn't find what it was. So that's a bit odd. I was wondering if we can talk for long enough that Daniel Ricciardo would have finished his interview with Spanish TV and I can nab him. Maybe I might be able to do that, but we'll see. Yeah, we're going to see what Ricciardo does. Listen, this is his first race. He needs to decide what he's going to do with the rest of his life. Is this the end of Daniel Ricciardo's racing career in Formula One? I think I get the feeling that it might be difficult to come back. The options he has for next year are probably similar to the options he had at the end of last year. But, well, we will see. It might be. I might ask him. But he needs to understand, whether he actually sort of wants to come back or whether he's happy just to go off and race other things. Here is Max, who looks happy enough. And I think it's the race that's got away from him in the past. And his previous best was third, of course. The curse of Melbourne, you can talk about the curse of Melbourne for Max Verstappen if you want, but he is well motivated to win this Grand Prix tomorrow, and he's starting, as Christian Horner says, from the best place. Right, let's do Ferrari, and then we'll get on to Mercedes. You can have a look at Ferrari, Pete, if you want. A disappointing day for Ferrari. Charles Leclerc only P7 on the grid. Carlos Sainz P5. Sainz quicker of the two in Q1, but slower than the Mercedes. And then early on in Q3, they were still slower than Mercedes, actually. And then Sainz lost 2/10 on his last effort. And Charles Leclerc also made a mistake. Charles Leclerc finished only 3/10 ahead of a Williams on the grid. No disrespect to Alex Albon, but what has happened to Ferrari today? Fred Vasseur, the boss, not happy, put his back out, had a knee problem and put his back out, got some back pain on the flight back from Jeddah, and has been trying to shake it off over the last week and a half. Was offered not to get on the 24-hour flight to come out to Australia, but did. And I don't know whether he's going to need an operation or just intensive physio to actually, sort his back out. But poor guy, I don't know whether it's a lesion or something on a disc or a vertebrae or whatever. But he's got a really bad back and is suffering a bit. But yeah, not the only thing that might be painful for Ferrari this weekend, because today wasn't quite good enough. They let Mercedes in ahead of them. Sainz says it's not an easy car to drive. The downforce that it has is very peaky, not easy to access in all types of corner, and not the easy to drive car that they had last year. What has happened to the nice, easy to drive car that Ferrari had last year? It has disappeared, and that's extremely disappointing for Carlos Sainz and for Charles Leclerc, but we'll see what they can do tomorrow. As for Mercedes, I'm still keeping an eye on Daniel Ricciardo. He hasn't broken up from that interview yet. That is the story of the day, Mercedes. You've got to say, where has that performance come from? Well, it's come from a circuit that's... The corner profile doesn't catch out the fact that they don't really have any kind of rear end of the grip that they can rely on. Interesting what Lewis Hamilton was saying about the seating position, not giving him the feel that he needs from the back. We'll develop that throughout the season, but a great piece that Karun did on the SkyPad explaining that, and the seating position potentially too far forward. Simon, I think, is probably trying to do a link for tomorrow with, just right next to you, Pete, with George Russell in the background, because, this is the story of the day. And George Russell, P2. What an epic lap from George Russell. It's been very close between George Russell and Lewis Hamilton all day, all weekend. In Q1, in Q2, it was Russell leading Hamilton. And then in Q3, a great lap for Russell, only a tenth in front of Lewis Hamilton, but Lewis talking about the handling issues that he has, which explain that partly, but take nothing away from George Russell, who said, I thought we were 1 second off the pace in this car. No, you weren't, actually, Georgie. Now it seems to have come good. So, yeah, well done. How long? I mean, what does that say about this car? And what does it say in terms of how long it's going to take them to improve it? Well, I don't know. Is it going to give them a kind of, look, are we sure we're doing the right thing here, guys? Are we sure that we're actually stopping any development of this car and going down the Red Bull route? And how long is that going to take? Well, if they carry on, they're probably going to have to carry on for some races with this car and this concept, and we'll see where they get with it. But I wonder if that's just going to complicate things, actually he's, it's a good weekend for them. Pete, I've just wandered back towards Ferrari, if you're wondering where I am. I'm seeing whether Daniel Ricciardo is on his way out. I do know somebody... Pete, I'm down towards Ferrari. Yeah, I know you're down there. All right, let's just finish up on Mercedes by saying the four letters and a name that is important and has been around today, and that is Massey. Pete, over here. Keep going. No, garage side, Pete. There you go. Massey, Michael Massey, the ex-FI race director, has been in the paddock for the first time since that fateful day in December 2021. And he's been glad-handing, he's been saying hello to drivers, hasn't been saying hello to the Mercedes people. I do want to get into it, I do. But I won't. what's he doing? I mean, what's he doing in Australia is he's in charge of supercars, the V8 supercars, the Australian touring cars now. But what's he doing coming back into the Formula One paddock? Some rumour that Formula One want him back because Niels needs help on the FIA race direction side. But that's not going to happen. I don't know. What's Michael Massey doing in the paddock? All right, that's it. Here's a nice fella who I can ask. Actually, he's a friend of the Notebook because he's off of the reserve drivers, talking to Laura Winter, and there's a very good programme on Australian Channel 10 when they're not doing reruns of CSI Miami or NCIS, and it's called The Cheap Seats. If you go onto some kind of social media and look for the cheapseats.au, you'll find that this guy basically rips off what Clive James was doing in the 1980s, Clive James on TV. So it looks
That started as a lovely plug and then became defamation. What are you doing?
It's Tim McDonald. Hello, Tim.
Hello, Ted. Lovely to see you.
Oh, nice to see you.
What a weekend it's been here in Melbourne.
I know. And now, from the reserve drivers and poking fun at the likes of us and Crofty, to you're on telly now.
I am on telly. This is a rental suit. Yes. I've got a button here like a restaurant that when that beeps, I've got to return the suit by 6. So it's all going well. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, not bad. I've been talking about how there are more people here than are in Darwin, than live in Darwin this weekend. More people in Albert Park than population of. You have to go away from your presenter there.
Do people watch this?
Yeah, no, they don't.
Do people watch this?
They're watching me Phil while I tried to get an interview with Daniel Ricciardo over there.
I spoke to Daniel Ricciardo yesterday. He is in good spirits. I've never seen him looking healthier and happier. I hope we see him back in a car, but if not, what a contribution he's made to the sport.
Good. All right.
That's called hosting.
Yeah, it is.
Try some.
It's very good. My daughters want to know if there are any stars of The Real Housewives of Melbourne here or any of the cast of Bluey.
No, they're all in an in memoriam segment. They're no longer here. Blue will be here tomorrow.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
Great, good. Well, listen, you're a titan of broadcasting in Australia, most talented man in Australian television.
You look like a Teletubby with that antenna,
Good.
but it's
Thank
great
you
to
very
see you.
much. Nice to see you. And catch up, someone who, oh, here we go, is Daniel Ricciardo. I'm going to drop you for Ricciardo.
The only man in sunscreen in a cloudy day, Ted Kravitz.
Okay, let's see if Danny Rick is going, who's he going to now? Oh, he's going to French TV. Oh, I've been immediately replaced by French telly. Have you got Les Français, Danny? You got? Oh, you have. Okay. Well, I was just going to say hello, so I won't say any more. I'll just say hello. That's all.
Hey Ted, how are you?
I won't. I don't want to get.
That's all right.
But they'll kill me if I try and steal it.
Quali was exciting.
It was good. Just a tip. I'm not sure you look good on that pit wall.
I look good in these colours though.
You do, but don't go on the pit wall.
Okay.
It didn't look. It wasn't
Do
a
I
good
look
look.
a bit lonely?
Yeah, you do. It made me sad.
It's all right. I can do it for a year. It's all good.
No. Yeah, but don't. It looked.
It's not forever.
You know, you were like. I hope. Is it not forever?
Not forever. No.
Hey! Look, she's gonna kill me.
I'm not
Look,
done.
she's gonna absolutely
Okay,
kill
see
me.
ya.
Okay, fine. I never left.
Yeah.
You thought I left. I never left. Yes. Good. I like that. Right, on that bombshell, let's take a break. More Notebook and probably what have we got, Pete? 8 more teams in a minute. I imagine wearing a Mercedes jacket, you're very happy. Good.
We are.
All right. Well, listen.
I was happier a couple of seasons ago.
Oh, really? Yeah, no, I know. Well, listen, I have to go. Been nice talking.
Yeah,
But
thank
you
you.
see Pete over there with the camera on. You know that red light? You know what that means?
Are we on air?
Yeah, we're on air, yeah.
Hi.
Okay, good. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
Bye. Hiya. Welcome back to the Notebook for the 2023 Australian Grand Prix qualifying session. Right, Alpine. I've got a load of teams to do, and I don't have much time, so let's get on with it. Alpine, bit disappointing today. If you're Esteban Ocon, very disappointing. He had a disaster on his last run in Q2 at traffic, and that meant he was out by 1/10 of a second. Poor Esteban Ocon. Pierre Gasly, having struggled in Q1, 6/10 off Ocon in Q1 and sliding so much, quote, got through into Q3, but he was finished between a Williams and Nico Hülkenberg, and I've put a sad face in my notebook because that's not what Alpine needed, but they raced better from there, and we can see what happens to them tomorrow. Otmar Zafnauer was talking about Pierre Gasly, saying there is much more to come from the Gasman in the Gasmobile. And where is Lando? And if there was anything that could break your heart today, it was Lando's radio call when his engineer, Will Joseph, said to him, Lando, we're out in Q2. And he said, I know. Oh, Lando, I want to give him a cuddle. That was so sweet. Is he in there, Pete? Can I give him a cuddle? When it just said, we're out, he said, I know. Oh, Lando. So yeah, the car's not quick. We know that. Lando did a good job with it, actually, but getting out of Q1 into Q2, didn't have enough in the car to get further up because he needed to find 4/10 if he was going to get into Q3, and that wasn't going to happen. So McLaren are behind Alex Albon and Williams and Yuki Tsunoda. As for Oscar Piastri, didn't get out of Q1 today. Very disappointed given that it's his first home race in Formula One. I'm sure it won't be his last, but at the moment the car is underbalanced. He didn't put enough wing in it, he thought, front wing potentially. It said that was partly due to a little bit of his inexperience, but that means that he can learn from that. There is the upgrades coming for the next race in Baku in 4 weeks' time. So maybe this is the last bit of pain that McLaren have to take before their upgrades come. I forgot to say, by the way, Red Bull have got a load of upgrades here. So, no aerodynamic testing penalties seeming at Red Bull. I mean, I know what you're saying. They're going to be, if they still have time in the wind tunnel, so they've got to make sure they're effective and efficient. They're using them well to bring their upgrades. Red Bull, but Mercedes and Ferrari haven't got any upgrades. McLaren have got some upgrades, but they're not quite the package that's coming for Baku. They have parted company with their technical director James Key. So, well, I just feel sorry for James Key. He's a good guy. Feel sorry for McLaren. Obviously, that relationship hasn't ended well. They've got David Sanchez, or given that he's French, apparently you have to pronounce it, and he insists on people pronounce it David Sanchez. He's the guy who made last year's Ferrari, the good one, and he's coming at the end of the year, but it will probably only be the 2025 car which is David Sanchez's, and that's a long time to wait. Right, Alfa Romeo team without their title sponsor, who's not allowed to be a title sponsor here, as I mentioned earlier, and it is 19th and 17th, so the title sponsor isn't here because it's been a horrible weekend so far. Very disappointing for everybody. Valtteri Bottas got traffic and went wide. He was out by 0.3. Zhou Guanyu said the car is not easy. It's half a tenth from getting into Q2. And even though they've got a new front wing and a nose cone here, the car is not well balanced and it's not quick. Fernando Alonso, P4, Lance Stroll, P6, and Aston Martin Mike Crack was talking about saying that he feels that it's inevitable that they were going to suffer a little bit in qualifying because they have a little bit too much drag on the car, and they don't gain as much as other cars by having 4 DRS zones, because the car is still a bit draggy even using the drag reduction system. But given to that, Fernando Alonso initially got to within 6/100ths of Max Verstappen in Q2 before Max pulled away. Yes, he was quicker than Ferraris, but then of course Sainz split both Alonso and Lance Stroll. The race will be different than qualifying. Alonso is only 0.03 of a second off Lewis Hamilton ahead. So Lewis Hamilton 3rd, Fernando Alonso 4th, and Lance Stroll 6th. But yeah, Lance looking for his first podium of the season. We'll see if he can manage to get that. Right, done Alfa Romeo Sauber. Haas, let's do Haas next. Hulkenberg made it into the top 10. Well done, Nico Hulkenberg, but it was looking better for a long time before that. He's very comfortable around here. P9 in Q1, then P5 in Q2. Kevin Magnussen struggled. He was 0.4 off making Q3 was Magnussen, so he was out in Q2. But a good effort from Nico Hulkenberg in his first effort, but he had a bad last sector, and then he couldn't prove on his final effort, so he remained P10 behind Alex Albon's Williams and the Gazman Pierre Gasly, who was P9 today. So, but Hulkenberg really settling in well and showing that it was the right call, or Gunsteiner said it was the right call to drop Mick Schumacher and get Nico Hulkenberg in, but I guess a few more races and we'll know that for sure. Right, AlphaTauri, Nick de Vries 15th. They have some upgrades here, but Yuki spun and damaged his new floor on the first day, so I think Yuki Tsunoda has the old, slower floor. So bear that in mind when you look at Yuki Tsunoda's pace and progress today and tomorrow. But Nick de Vries Yuki with the old floor was quicker today. Yuki was into Q2 by 0.03 of a second. Nick de Vries was a good recovery from a difficult practice and into Q2, but it made a mistake on the entry into turn 1, which cost de Vries some time. And Yuki was out in Q2 by 0.3 of a second. So 15th for Nick de Vries and 12th for Yuki Tsunoda. And finally, Alex Albon, the star of the day apart from the Mercedes, and Max Verstappen being P8 and Williams P. A great Q1 effort for Alex Albon, 18.1. Lance Stroll had a spin, Logan Sargent had a spin, LS had a spin and recovered, but couldn't better P18. Then Alex got into Q3 by 7 thousandths of a second from Esteban Ocon, did one run in Q3 and made it count for P8. So brilliant effort for him. Okay, that's all we've got time for, so thank you very much for watching. Join us at 4:30 in the morning. I don't buy any of this, just get up for the race. We've worked long and hard this weekend with Pete and everybody to do some good content. So go on, set your alarm for 4:30 and watch us then. All right, the race does start at 6. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Sky Sports F1.